It's Friday, the 18th of April, 2025. Good afternoon and welcome to the Post. And it's the Easter Friday edition of the show with me, Samuel Kojo Brace. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, all social media handles, and around the world on myjoyonline.com. Coming up this hour, the biggest opposition party, NPP, takes bold steps to sanitize internal party discourse ahead of its 2028 flag bearer election, warning executives and communicators to refrain from publicly endorsing aspirants or face sanctions. This afternoon, we sit with the party's Deputy General Secretary to explore the party's future as it seeks a strong comeback in 2028. Also, government pledges to absorb all Damang mine workers as Goldfields begins its official exit from the concession today. We'll be on the ground. We'll speak to people who understand and bring you more details on this as ACEP urges government to tread carefully with its plans to nationalize aspects of the extractive sector, warning against hasty or ill-considered actions.
That the communications between the government and the company will be maintained for a little longer to explore a possible compromise.
Now, the maiden edition of Ashanti Festival, spearheaded by the Regional Coordinating Council, enters its peak this Easter weekend as residents of Kumasi gear up to participate in fun-filled activities.
On the first day, we took specific interest in activities in sanitation and city greening.
We have details as inmates of the Kumasi Central prisons get screened as part of the series of activities, plus more from Ashanti, because the regional minister is indicating discussions are underway to relocate Kumasi Central prisons.
We discussed, among others, plans to be able to decongest the prison, which is key in making sure that we provide a very conducive environment for your work.
Also, assembly members in Wa East reject the DC nominee. These and many more coming up here on the Pulse, brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. On behalf of the production team, thanks for making us a part of your Easter Friday. Good afternoon and welcome. Goldfields Ghana Limited has begun evacuating the Damang mine site as it prepares to shut down operations. This follows the government's decision not to renew the company's mining lease after 30 years of operation. Joy News checks at the Minerals Commission confirmed that the South African mining giant did not meet the necessary requirement for its lease extension. Speaking on PM Express on Thursday, Deputy CEO of the Minerals Commission, Isaac Andrews Tando, rejected claims that the government is pursuing an anti-investor agenda in the mining sector.
Sure, and but I beg to disagree. Unlike those days when people couldn't access funding, it's a thing of the past. I mean, now we have groups. We have companies in Ghana. I mean, a typical example, BCM had very good Caterpillar financing for the equipment. Engineers and planners signed a $250 million deal with Caterpillar. Another over $100 million deal with Libre. I mean, our local companies are getting there. Rockshore is purchasing equipment worth hundreds of millions of dollars to work in Ghana. So where lies the argument of capital? In any case, there have been a lot of money is actually leaving the country, and that is a concern. Let me give you a typical example. Last year alone, Goldfields with the two mines in Ghana, Tarkwa and Damang, made over $600 million in profit. How much did it stay in the country? Your guess is good as mine. So we've gotten to that point. I think we would take it case by case and analyze the situation. We are not saying we're going to chase all mining companies away. We're not going to do that. We are going to support them to do their work. Let me tell you, after giving the 30-year lease to Goldfields, government even bettered the situation for them by giving them a development agreement. The development agreement actually gave them kind of a waiver on some of their tax liabilities. There were a whole lot of tariffs that were taken off, especially fuel. So while sometimes people are even crying out for fuel prices and other things, these mines were enjoying some sort of tariffs that were being waived because of the type of agreement we had with them. Now, instead of using the profit to develop the Damang mine, they were rather busy buying mines elsewhere, like Osisco in Canada. They bought another mine in Chile. And they can't tell me it's not a profit from Ghana, because it's difficult moving your money out of Australia. So it's one of the places they can actually get the free will to move money around is from our country. And I'm saying we can't continue on that tangent.
Meanwhile, youth in Damang are throwing their support behind the government's decision to get Anglo-Gold out of the mine.
Goldfields, a point of the Afasono, and Yadia between an Juma where Habim. And he said 25 years away, Juma Hanu. Who development Papa Biawaha, and yet President Mahama Obama.
We cannot continue working with Goldfields in this community if it hadn't been for President Mahama's consolidated agreement that compelled them to construct the Damang-Bogosu road. We will still be using an untarred road. Even now, we don't have a hospital and access to potable water.
Especially in Bano.
They don't offer us any meaningful employment, even though we are qualified. I am a trained excavator operator, but they demand 10 years of experience. If you don't give me the opportunity, how do I gain the experience?
But say Jumani by a better show say 10 years experience. As a one family of my new Jumana makes experience.
Goldfields are for almost 30 years. Fine. You
can't say the company has done nothing, but the living conditions of the youth here are still very poor.
While all this is happening, the government is set to officially take control of the Damang mine in the western region today. The government has assured that all workers at Damang mine will be absorbed by the state and the new owners of the mine. Isaac Tando, Deputy Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission, shared these updates on the PM Express Business Edition.
Yeah.
What happens to those 300 people? What happens to
in the
Adjoa Mansa, who is a
in the interim,
them?
they would work for the government of Ghana. I've already had a long-standing discussion with Ghana Commercial Bank. We put it in place. If it goes this way, everybody is protected. In all this conversation, all that I've been trying to tell you right from the beginning is the interest of Ghana. So I am not going to do anything there that affects the Ghanaian who is working in there. It's his interest, that's why I'm fighting. So it doesn't make sense to try and get them out and what. So we are putting all sorts of arrangements, and we want to assure the people of Ghana that the people will be well treated and even start the work and increase whatever we are doing and be able to pick more people and benefit Ghana.
Well, this matter, cuts across several areas and several people who are involved. The Ghana Chamber of Mines is one of the organizations that have been speaking about this. Now, they have been revealing that local content in the mining sector has experienced significant growth in recent years, making a substantial contribution to the country's economy. Speaking on Upfront, Acting Chief Executive of the Chamber, Ahmed Nantoma, shared that over $3.2 billion was spent on local supplies and contracts. He emphasized that this figure could increase further if the government takes steps to safeguard and support the sector.
Do you have figures to back how much of an immense blessing your chamber has been, and by extension, members of your chamber have been to this country in terms of taxes and perhaps jobs that you're creating?
I think I did mention that we are the highest taxpayer by far, and overtaking cocoa and other sectors. So you can imagine, I think for last year,
provided about 11 million or 11 billion cedis in taxes to the state alone. So that is outside all the social responsibilities that we pay. And even if you look at local content, mining companies in last year spent about $3.2 billion in this country on local purchases, local content. That is goods supplied by Ghanaian-owned companies and based in Ghana. So if you take this into perspective, this is even more than the IMF loan that we went for.
But the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, has urged the government to proceed with caution in its approach to nationalize operations within the extractive sector. In light of the government's decision not to renew the lease for Goldfields Damang mine, ACEP's Executive Director Ben Boakye warned that failing to thoroughly engage in negotiations and explore all arbitration options could lead to future legal challenges and deter potential investors.
At the press conference, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, expressed concerns about government's inability to exhaust all dialogue channels. The Executive Secretary of ACEP, Ben Boakye, questioned why government is in such a haste to take over the Abosu Goldfields Limited starting tomorrow, April 18, 2025.
We had hoped that the communications between the government and the company will be maintained for a little longer to explore a possible compromise, whether that meant facilitating the company's exit or supporting its continued operation.
He detailed why ACEP believes government's decision could result in future legal battles.
By examining the laws and the information before us, the decision of the government to take over the mines after April 18th, which is tomorrow, 2025, is premature. The law is unambiguous in this matter. Section 27 of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703, as amended, states, and I'll quote expressly, subsection 1 states that where a dispute arises between a holder of a mineral right and the Republic, all efforts shall be made through mutual discussions and, if agreed, through alternative dispute resolution procedures to reach an amicable solution. What this provision is saying is that when the company indicates its right to seek for redress in court, the government shall stay its action until that dispute is resolved before further actions could be taken. That is not what we are seeing.
He concluded by calling for a halt to the planned takeover.
ACEP calls for a halt in the operations to expropriate the mine tomorrow, and the indication that tomorrow is not only Christ that will be crucified, but the mining industry risks crucifixion as well. The government needs to exercise restraint, renew dialogue, and pursue a legally guided resolution that protects the interests of both the state and the investors.
Government has come under scrutiny for its decision not to renew the lease of some concessions under Goldfields Limited. While government insists it is working in the interest of the country, many experts believe extensive dialogue could save the country from future legal battles.
Well, let's bring in the MP for the area, Robert Wisdom Kujo, who is joining us on the telephone lines now. Grateful to you, sir, for joining. First, we understand that some community members support the government's decision not to renew the license. Would you say this sentiment is shared broadly across the constituency? Can you hear me, Mr. Wisdom Kujo?
Yeah, my brother.
Great. I want to find out from you. We have heard that some of the community members agree with government decision not to renew the license for Goldfields. You are there. We want to find out whether or not this sentiment is shared broadly across the constituency.
Thank you, my brother. Let me also say good afternoon. Yeah, we've received the news about 3 or 4 days ago that the government is rejecting the renewal of both lease. You should use your assessment from the youth, workers, and the traditional authorities. So most of them are in the government that the lease should not extend it. They have various reasons for saying so. I'm sure now, very for yesterday, the minister was there. He also had a chat with the workers who were afraid that they were going to lose their job. But then I calmed them down and assured them that no one will lose a job in this process. So the president now come, but I'll let you say most of the people are happy with the government action.
Okay, so you are confirming that most people in the constituency are happy with the action by government?
Oh yes.
Okay. We know that you are in the constituency now. What is happening in Damang as we speak?
Oh, yesterday when the minister had a chat with the workers, I'm sure they are calm. Work is still in progress. This morning, the traditional authority also invited me, and that they want to see the minister. The minister also should see them and explain things to them, because all that they are hearing is from the media, just from the grapevine information. So they also want to have a first-hand information from the minister as to what is going on, or the reason for government action.
I understand the chiefs are asking who is going to be the owner. Is that true?
Yes, that midnight today, if Goldfields is no more the owner of their mine, which is sitting on their land, who is the owner, they want to know.
Do you have any idea, as the MP of the area, who the owner will be?
No, sir. I know government is taking over, but as to who is going to be the next owner, that's one. I'm not privy to that.
Okay. So as we speak, are the equipment that belong to Goldfields still there, or they are packing them out of the mine?
Everything is there. Everything is there.
How is that? If the equipment belongs to Goldfields, not so?
The equipment for the operations, they are all there.
Okay. But what has been Goldfields' contribution to the... Okay, I think we've lost the MP there, but he's confirming that the majority of the people in the constituency are happy with the decision by government. He's also confirmed to us that the chiefs of the area are asking government midnight today, when Goldfields ceases to be the owner of the mine, who will be the new owner. But he doesn't have the answer. He says the chiefs are asking, they're asking for the minister to come and meet them so they could be briefed on some of these. We're trying our best to get the minister to speak to. Now, yesterday, he was at the Damang mine to speak to workers of the mine, reassuring them that government will absorb all of them, that nobody will lose his or her job. We want to understand, a bit into details what this really means. You have the deputy CEO of the Minerals Commission. They're trying to explain. He mentioned that he's been having chat with GCB Bank. But so what are the steps? We'll try and get you all of that. And if you go to the community today, as we played you there, some people we've been speaking to agree that they side with government, that there has to be a change in leadership of the mine. We'll keep an eye on this, but let's still stay a bit longer on this particular matter and explore the economic impact of the situation. Joining us via Zoom is Professor William Kwesi Pepra, an Associate Professor of Finance, who is also an economist with Andrews University in the United States of America. Grateful to you, sir, for joining. First of all, as a finance and economic expert, what is your independent and professional view of what is happening now? The government says, I am taking over the mine.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to your viewers. So it's good that the government is saying that he's taking over the mine. Don't let us forget that now gold as a commodity in all discussions has become the backbone for our Ghanaian economy. And we are planning to harness on it. So if the government is going to take over the mine, it reassures the financial sector that yes, business is going to continue. However, what we may not see is Goldfields' impact. We know that they had some corporate social responsibilities, which the community probably thinks that they could have done more and better. We are anticipating that if the government, I know the government is not going to run the mine. They may find a new equity partner or owner to run the mine.
Okay.
That person should be someone who may improve on what Goldfields seeks to do. We know gold, the commodity, is one major financial instrument that backs our currency, our foreign currency. This may send a signal to the international market if the production ceases not to continue again. It may lead to a little bit increase in gold prices because Ghana is a major player in that industry, preferably also Goldfields.
But this is just one mine. How can it lead to the increase in gold prices?
So, if they have contracts already established to supply, their customers may be not getting that demand, and they may be shifting to other customers, other producers, which may bring in a little bit of increasing in price. And there's a normal supply and demand approach. So the slightest action of stoppage of production will trickle down to having an impact in the global market. We shouldn't underplay the impact of Goldfields. Also, the company is well recognized in terms of providing quality and standard of gold that the whole world needs. So this is why the thinking is going, who is going to take over this diamond mine? Is that company or partner world renowned to provide the standard of gold that is the world needs to ensure that we get the foreign currency that is needed? So these are some of the things. I'm sure with what has happened in Ghana in the gold industry, the small scale industry, there are some players who have now gotten that maturity and understanding the gold production who can also step in. Praying that the government will make the right choice, the right decision. I listened this morning. The focus is looking at a Ghanaian gold miner
company
who can step in. Our aim is that if that person is coming in, it should not be the same Ghanaian mentality of doing business. We must aim higher, meeting the international standards. If not, it must surpass what Goldfields has been doing. That's what the community wants. So that person can win the heart of the community if they assure them that first we are going to keep you, but you have to improve the standard of your work ethics, and all those things are very, very important. So, and the last part, the Ministry of Finance must work very fast, because losing taxation from, if we don't operate this mine, we are going to lose a lot of revenue in terms of taxation. So that decision must be taken very fast for the mine to start operation. If not anything, Goldfields, they have a lot of suppliers, and the issue of withholding tax brings in a lot of revenue for the government. So this mine must start. We shouldn't, they may take some time, but it shouldn't take too long, like more than within 2-3 months to get this mine being operation.
Okay.
So we reassure the employment. There's also the employment bit. If the mine is shut now and they have not decided who is taking over, it may bring some unemployment uncertainties within
the government has assured the people that nobody will lose his or her job. So that part looks certain now, that there won't be layoffs, even as Goldfields goes.
Yeah, we know there will not be layoff, but during the period that they are not working, who is going to pay them salaries? Is the government going to step in and pay the salaries? We know this has not been factored in the budget. So that's what I'm saying, that that decision on who becomes the new owner must be taken fast, and we must select a reputable mining company, a Ghanaian mining company, if that is the angle we are going, who will be able to fulfill the request or the demand of the citizens, especially in the diamond area, and then also surpass the quality being produced by Goldfields.
Okay. Now, you mentioned how the new investor could win over the communities. What should be the focus of the new investor in trying to win over the love of the communities around the mine?
Let me say that during my career, between 2004 2007, I have had stints in the mining industry. I work for a European company called Euro Support Services in supporting Damang mines. We're providing some support. At the time, I realized that you may have to work well with the chiefs. The chiefs have a lot of power. They will a lot of respect from the people in their mine. So whoever becomes the new owner must ensure that most of the decisions they take, they must do a little bit consultation with the chiefs. We know our tradition, our way of life. When our chief speaks, they are more respected. And then also the people want, with my understanding, they want some of their own people to be part of the management team.
Okay.
So if the new owner comes and go and bring a new management team where they don't have one of their own within, you may start to have trouble. So whoever, I don't know the number that the new owner will bring in, but he must make sure at least two of their management team members are part. When we were working, we noticed that specifically the HR director normally is someone who's from the community. And once you're able to do that, the people, it will point to a fact that once we have our own as an HR director or HR head, we are going to be considered when it comes to the employment side. So that is the first thing that the people need. And also, some of the roads must also be looked at because if you most of the time it has been done. During my time, between Takwa and Takrady could take you like 4 hours, and when it rains, it's worse. But now it's been done. But within the community, in the roads within must also be looked at, and also their educational system and the water problem.
Okay.
They have a lot of water problem which can be also looked at. So these are the areas a new owner must think about to make sure you're able to win the hearts of the people.
Please hold for me. I'll bring you in again, but let me bring in the former chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, who's joining us on the phone now, Samuel Atacha Esquire. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, I mean, with you being a former chairman, you have a fair view of how the extractive industry is. What's your view of government decision regarding the Damang mine, and what message do you think it's sending to the investor community?
There are ringtones of expropriation. You see, because it is not just cheap to run a gold mine. The capital outlay is massive and huge. And if we said that, look, just by the stroke of a pen, I want to bring an end to such a huge corporate undertaking, it must be some very, very serious, offense committed that should bring that about. So we don't have the full facts, but at the moment, what I'm seeing is that then anybody who is doing any serious business in the extractive industry and might want to sink in good money because of possibilities of arbitrariness and unreasonable termination of contracts, might be warned not to come. So this is my very, 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 very serious concern about what has happened. That it can be a very serious put off. In terms of other investors that might want to come into Ghana with a greater respect. Opportunity cost somewhere, sinking good money into the industry. That one day in Ghana, by the stroke of the pen, you will lose all your investment.
But an investor will know that you are giving the lease over a number of years. This wasn't taken from them before the lease ended. It's being taken from them after the lease ends. Is that a wrong signal?
Well, let's find out whether or not they were given the opportunity to renew. You see, because all the investments we know, and as I've said, all the investment that require huge capital outlay there's a sense of renewal of the lease. It's very important. So nobody faults you that the lease has come to an end. But when it comes to an end, what helps and is very good for investors is that the government will always permit the investor to pray in aid the renewal clauses of the contract. And that is when they look at issues of trying to revamp the place and have supernormal profits and the rest of it. So that is my concern. Because every investor knows the lease of life of, a mining arrangement. But what gives them a lot of comfort is that terminations will not be arbitrary and unreasonable.
Okay. But if the state says, I now want to manage the mine myself, because I think that over the years, Ghanaians have built their capacity to be able to do this. Is that wrong for us to take our minerals into our hands?
There is nothing wrong at all. But in this tight fiscal space, and if you pay regard to the budget, why are you going to raise the money to do it? Or is it a very comfortable arrangement that you have some other investor somewhere, you open the door for the investor to come in, and you give it to the investor because of how good it will be for you politically. So these are matters that we should look at. I don't mind at all that the government is able to go into such undertakings. I'm afraid what we are going through, the government might be careful not to overburden itself with such huge capital undertakings, because the physical space is challenged.
But some experts in the sector do not agree with the expression that this is an expropriation.
Well, you see, it's how you interpret it. And if you look at it from the perspective that there have been several gold mining undertakings in the realm who had the benefit of renewing the life of the mine, then why not this one? And have you gotten the full understanding as to why, they shouldn't renew the life of the mine? These are matters of great concern, and they have investor implications for the country.
How then do we deal with the negative impact, in quote, that it could have on investors?
Well, I don't know even how to weigh the impact. Because at the end of the day, here you are, you don't have good money to do serious businesses of that nature. And the ones that you have, instead of encouraging them to, enlarge their space financially, give employment to your own people, and bring in some royalties and revenue that will help you run the economy, you are sacking them. And it's incalculable. It could be very serious. At this point in time, whatever would generate employment should be our concern. And whatever arrangement which will not make the government spend money because of how the physical space is challenged, it should be encouraged that the private sector should be used strongly to help the government, run properly.
We had an interaction with the Deputy CEO of Minerals Commission, and he mentioned a local Ghanaian company that has built its capacity in that area. It looks as though government has its eye on a company which is Ghanaian owned that can do this. If government has that arrangement, that will be a good gamble for the state, not so?
Well, if they have the financial muscle, if it's not political cronyism, then probably we should encourage Ghanaians to go and do it. But let's look at it critically, that what is it that should prevent the government from saying that go start your own, don't come and harvest what somebody has done? You see, because I'm afraid what it takes to run a mining firm is not easy. All the gadgets in the ground, all the machines they are using, they are going to be, redundant. Okay. And you are bringing yours to do what? Why don't you give space to that Ghanaian individual to start afresh? More jobs, multiplicity of activities. So why this particular mine? I don't want to surmise that this could be one of political anachronism. And if you've done that, I mean, do you have all the procurement processes in place, or this one of the single source activities you're about to witness?
What role can the committee, play in this particular circumstance?
The oversight responsibility of the Committee of Parliament is very strong, and this could be one of them that they could hold before the committee, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to come and explain. Or they can even use question time to delve into what has happened. And the successor Ghanaian company, the financial muscle and the bona fides of the company can all be assessed by Parliament. And that will shed light on this arrangement. And that is when we will be well informed to say that the government has done the wrong thing, or this is another arrangement that is going to ward off investors.
Is this something you would want the committee to do?
I believe it will be in the best interest of Ghana, and for the sake of transparency and the way forward, and for the benefit of other investors that might want to come in, if light was shed on this particular situation, it will stand us in good stead.
I'm grateful to you, Honorable Samuel Atachia, for joining us. He is a former chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, but we'll still have Professor Andrews Pepra with us. Prof, before I let you go, what will be your expectation of how government, progresses on this particular path?
Let's some information. So, if you check on the website of Goldfields, they had already had concerns with the Damang mine. In 2022 to 2023, their gold production dropped by 34%. So the Goldfields themselves, in their financial statement, had already started some restructuring process to make sure that process improved. And also, let's be mindful that renewal of a mining license on royalty basis is not just done in 2 months of a new government's time. You may have to start around 3 years or 5 years when your lease is about to end. So the Minerals Commission must come clear and let Ghanaians know what has really happened. And what they have put out, as we know, is that Goldfields did not meet some legal requirements, and that is what the information we know. Going forward, as the government moves into preparing the grounds for a new owner, we should be mindful. Goldfields tax contribution last year was around $222 million US. This is only on royalties. Will the new owner be able to provide that kind of financial muscle so that the country will still get the royalties that we need? It's very, very important. Also, if they are going to put it on tender, we must make sure that we do this very fairly so that we get the right person being selected to take over. Whatever the legal challenge must also be looked at. Maybe we don't just create room and say we've reduced the requirement for a Ghanaian owner to take over.
All right, I'm grateful to you, Prof, for joining us. Professor Williams, Pepra is a lecturer with the St. Andrews University in the United States. Today is a special big man's birthday. Kweku Owusu Pepra is the channel's manager of Joy News. Today is your birthday, Kweku. Wherever you are, may the good Lord continue to bless you bigly. We have more here. We have a special interaction with the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP here on the show. We'll take a break, but don't go away because we have more to bring you. Welcome back to the Pulse here on the Joy News channel. Now, let me take you to Takrady and say good afternoon to Steve Hammond. He is the general manager of Just More Constructions. Uncle Steve is watching us now. Thank you. Hi to you and the family. Well, let's do this on the New Patriotic Party, because the party is making decisive moves to sanitize internal discourse ahead of its 2028 flag bearer selection. Party executives and communicators are being cautioned against publicly endorsing any aspirant as offenders risk facing sanctions by the party. This stern directive follows the submission of a report by the 12-member committee led by Professor Michael Quay, which investigated the party's defeat in the 2024 general elections and presented its findings to the national leadership on Wednesday, April 16. This afternoon, we are privileged to host the Deputy General Secretary of the party in studio as he walks us through key development within the MPP and shares insight into party strategy for the strong comeback they seek in 2028. Grateful to you, and the Deputy General Secretary of the party is Haruna Mohammed. He joins me in studio. Hi, Haruna. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kojo.
I hope you're well.
Oh, I'm well.
Okay. Now, it was just this Wednesday that the report from the Professor Michael Quay committee got to you. What are the details? What does it say?
Kojo, first, I will say good afternoon to your cherished viewers, yourself, your staff. I will take the opportunity to also wish them a good Friday and a happy Easter to all multimedia staff and any other person that is watching on Joy News this afternoon. It's true that we received the Professor Michael Quay's report following a decision that was made on the 2nd of January. The same National Council put together this particular committee to look into the circumstances on which we lost the 2024 general elections, and also, second, to look at possible areas of amendment that will help to reshape in the rebuilding process of the party structure, so i.e. in the amendment of the party's constitution. So these were the two terms of reference that were given to the very respected committee chaired by the Right Reverend, Right Honorable Professor Mike Aaron Quay. And if you permit me, other members of the committee included Professor Emeritus Ya Ntiamua Bedu, Professor Kofi Osei Akwaku, Professor Samuel Bedbudi, also have Dr. Phyllis Damor, we also have Dr. Joseph Ajapon Damor, right? Dr. Felix Yamwa, Mr. F.F. Anto, Mr. Koku Domfe, Honorable Gifty Kusi, former Member of Parliament, Honorable Abdullah Abanga, Seidu Nasagri, ESQ, is a lawyer, and Williams Yamwa, who is Member Secretary. Okay. These were the members that were given the mandate of the second highest decision-making body of our party to go around all the 276 constituencies. And indeed, they went round, they heard our members, they heard our leaders, they heard other stakeholders who have interest in the growth of the New Patriotic Party. And indeed, they submitted the report, as you clarified. On the 16th of this month, the report was submitted to the National Council. Knowing the MPP from our tradition as a liberal democratic party, the only shining consecutive party in Africa, who have not changed our form, we have not altered our tradition, we have shaped democracy in Africa and West Africa, which has put us on a very good pedestal in terms of the globe. And I am very proud to be a member of the New Patriotic Party. Received the report with utmost respect, with the desire that the recommendations in the report will reflect in the true meaning of the New Patriotic Party. learning from what we did in 1992. We wrote the stolen verdict after we had disagreed with the outcome of the presidential elections. The stolen verdict helped us as a country, not just as a New Patriotic Party, one, to change the electioneering period and the processes in terms of the opaque ballot system to transparent ballot system. It also helped us to change from no register to a register.
Okay.
It helped us from a non-ID card to a black and white ID card. It also helped us to improve on the process to move to a colored ID card.
Okay.
Then through that process, it also helped us to be able to transform into a biometric system.
Okay.
And today,
So once that has been established by you, what is this new report pointing to?
this new report is pointing to a number of factors, which has been gathered through the opinion of the members of the New Patriotic Party. One, it is pointing to us that there is going to be the need for the amendment of the party's constitution. And that is why, in the wisdom of National Council, lawyer Frank Davis, Honorable Patricia Apiaje, a deputy leader in Ghana's parliament, Honorable Kojo Ponkroma, my colleague Dr. Antoinette Chibudako, Mr. Makafui Wanya, regional chairman of Volta region, Honorable Ebenezer Nate, Honorable Diana Asonoba Dapa, former Deputy Attorney General, Idi Mohaideen, and Dr. Ekuya Amwako. These members will be championing the ideals of the party and the recommendations that will be teased out of the Michael Quay's report with respect to areas of amendment or the possible amendment of the Constitution, which has been contained, and it was the second terms of reference in the Professor Michael Quay's review work. Again, in 2021, we also made an attempt to finish up with an amendment process in Kumasi, which was not completed. That particular committee that was established was headed by the Osahini, the current minority leader of Ghana's parliament, who had completed their work at that particular period. But Congress had ceded the power to the National Council to fine-tune these motions and then present back to Congress for ratification. Unfortunately, we have not been able to have Congress. So coming out with this particular procedure and getting a report from Michael Quay, then these will be fused together. And the General Secretary will also issue a statement following the instruction on Article 19 of our party's constitution to call for proposals or call for possible areas from other members of the party who still believe that we need to add something to that.
How long is the process expected to last?
That particular process, this committee has been given 3 weeks to look at this matter, and the General Secretary's call will also come, and it will be added to this particular processes to be followed. Whatever that is presented is going to be presented by General Secretary by way of motions at Congress for adoption. So the other matters that will arise from this particular review committee are matters that we are going to study now. And in the next National Council sitting, Council will deliberate on those matters. And that is why the report has just been received. And because we have one of the terms of reference that we need to amend portions of the party's constitution, the party has gone ahead to proactively get this committee in place. And to take the report, study the report, come back to Council, and Council will deliberate on all the important matters. So it will be very difficult now to look at all the areas that has been presented by council, because this is something that council did not read out.
Okay.
We only took synopsis of what the committee thinks that we should be able to know by point of presentation.
Okay. But one critical reason why this committee was set up was to try to understand why you performed abysmally in 2024. What did the committee find?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The committee presentation is to the council. Council will study the entire document. If you depend on...
But once that was a critical sort of, say, objective for the committee, that should have been made known at the meeting.
Once, even if it is contained in the summary presentation, the council need to read and get to know the background. Every conclusion has a background. So you cannot just take it off head and start to discuss. So once such presentations are made, and these conclusions that are made by the committee will be backed by data or primary data, which has also been attached.
Okay.
So you don't need to take the summary presentation and begin to run to the market.
Okay.
You need to ensure that you are abreast with all the facts, because if I begin to speak, you as you are, because we know the work of journalists. Journalists need to go behind to get an extra mile, to get all the needed explanation to back the fact. So if I sit down to speak to a summary information, then it will defeat the purpose of you entertaining, educating, and getting your people informed.
Okay.
So we need to get all the data together, read to understand, appreciate to make reference, and to be able to back the summary findings.
Well, but already even Global Info Analytics has done some work where Ghanaians have spoken about what exactly caused the NPP to lose. They've even assigned some ranking to individuals in the party and their roles in how the party performed. You're saying that your own committee didn't make it specific or didn't even put it out what caused you to perform that way in 2024.
You see, the Global Info Analytic report, I don't know the period in which it came, but we received our report just this 16th of this month.
That's when theirs also came out.
So they were coming out on the same day report is being. So which report were they speaking to?
No, they have interviewed people already.
So they can't make reference to a non-existing report, because the day they were publishing their report is the very day that the report was also being presented. So in fact, you cannot be referencing a non-existing report. So for them to include in their findings that our committee's report has failed to acknowledge.
No, they didn't put it in their report as such. They only brought out to Ghanaians what Ghanaians have told them in their survey what caused the NPP's defeat and who in the party, the party members themselves are blaming.
For that, they are in their good right to determine and to make statements on that if they have done their research backed by their data. They can make their statement.
But your committee
your
committee went around meeting your party members.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, they were told what caused the party to lose. And you're saying you don't have that?
And the point I am telling you is that Global Info Analytics did their work to publish.
Yes.
Our committee did their work to present to council.
Okay.
So these are two different works.
But you are in council.
I am saying that...
So you should know what, from the report, what caused the defeat of the NPP.
But the point is that we have told you, we cannot take the point and then begin to run to the market with the point. We need to get to appreciate what informed that particular point. Because when you look at the members of the committee, people are coming from academia. People are coming from the legal profession. People are coming from a party point of view who have institutional memory of this party. Others are coming from the legislative point of view by representing former members of parliament. And others were coming from being part of the campaign process, like immediate past parliamentary candidates in the elections. Then we have others who are also coming with other varied knowledge in terms of research. So these were the people we put together to get this done. So when they make a presentation and you read a line that is being made, like a presentation that is made to you, you need to go behind that particular statement. What made them to arrive at that point, of which we are not yet prepared to go out there to be speaking to matters that we have not thoroughly looked at and discussed and firmed. The work of the committee is for the National Council. And it is for the National Council to decide which part of that report will be made available. And that is why my boss, lawyer Justin Kodua from Bong, in his statement, indicated that in due course, the party will communicate areas that are supposed to come out to the public. And then what matters in this report, like I said in the first instance, is implementation. And I believe that there will be a committee that will be responsible to ensure that this is implemented. Because
do you require a committee to tell your party members what caused your defeat? You don't need that, do you?
You need. I have just given you some instances.
What caused your defeat?
Yes, you should get a body, an independent body, to look at it. At that time, all of you are surprised. All of you have been moved into a state in which you are disagreeing with the reality. So you need to go behind the scene, listen to people's frustrations, listen to people's suggestions, listen to people's opinion, listen to people's idea. Because not only why you lost, but also how you will come back is important.
But you're saying that the Michael Quay committee didn't do that and that you need another committee
to I am saying that the Michael Quay's committee needs implementation.
Yes.
Yeah, so definitely somebody must guide. If we are going to Kumasi today, myself and you, we cannot just get up and we are going. Somebody should be driving the car. Okay? Somebody will be able to identify a pothole and get to know that this is a barrier, this is a police checkpoint, this is a rest place, this is where we have to eat, this is where a place of convenience. Somebody has to drive. So by way of implementation, there will be a guide as to how these proposals and recommendations in Michael Quay's committee to be able to be implemented to the latter so that the MPP will mount a strong comeback in 2028.
But already, even before the Ashanti regional, chapter of the party did its own research, and part of the findings is that the current delegate system of selecting party leaders is problematic. Even the delegate, your party members themselves are saying so. They also go ahead to, list several things that caused the party to lose. They speak about economic hardship, and of course, in the run-up to the election, you heard a lot of Ghanaians say that the economy was difficult. Researchers proved that, in fact, the economy was one thing the Ghanaians were going to vote on. Perception of corruption under the government, Nana Akufo-Addo's leadership style. They also do mention inappropriate and distasteful utterances by party stalwart. You're saying that these are not something that the Professor Michael Quay committee found, that you could just put out there for us to... For the people of your party to know what caused your party to lose?
There's only one report.
Which is?
Which is the Professor Michael Quay's report. The one you are reading from, I don't know. We, as a party, there's no such report in existence.
But I get it. But you're saying that this sentiment that your party people in Ashanti region expressed does not find a space in
the sentiments that the people of Ashanti region will express will be in Professor Michael Quay's report.
And what does it say?
It will tell you when the next council meets.
Which is when?
Which is studying and getting to understand all the activities that led to those particular events happening. We are not dismissing the sentiment and opinions of people. I have my own opinion. I have what I wrote to the Professor Michael Quay's committee. People have expressed. On your media platform, we had the opportunity during their work to also say what we think should be done. So all the points that you have raised are relevant if they are sentiment of the people, but they will be irrelevant if they are read from a report that does not exist. So those points, whilst they are sentiments of the people of the New Patriotic Party, which has been put before the micro-quiz committee, then it will be contained in it, because they will find a way of putting all those sentiments together that will make real meaning to the New Patriotic Party. But there's only one report, and I will only refer to that particular report, which is Professor Michael Qui's report.
But the report, we don't know the content.
Yes,
you've done the work. Your party members are watching you now. You're looking at them and telling them that, well, we want just a select few to understand what the content of this report, and you cannot know.
Kojo, it's patience. You see, when you are angry, you approach your wife. You ask your wife to cook for you. When the wife cooks for you, you cannot take the bowl and put it directly into your stomach. Even when you are too angry, you will sit down to let the food cool down. Then, at the temperature that you so desire, you will be taking marble by marble until you get satisfied. That is exactly what leadership is trying to do. And at the appropriate time, leadership will certainly communicate at the communication levels of the report. And I believe the key thing is implementation.
We're in April. Before you know, we would have done it 2025. 2026 will be here. And you intend to, when you are in opposition, your party constitution says you need to elect, is it your flag bearer? So 2 years ahead
all
of
those
time.
things are taken into consideration.
The time you have, you think you have enough time for a committee to go and do, to look at implementation, and then a committee is set to know when the implementation will start.
For implementation, it kickstarts at any point in time. Remember, the party is going to do a national tour, a thank you tour. In this thank you tour, leadership will be speaking to party members. Leadership will be talking to party members. And leadership will find a way of speaking the mind and the expressions in Professor Michael Qui's report to members of the party.
Oh, so during the thank you tour, you do.
I am saying
you explain
that
to them.
Leadership will find a way of expressing some of the views that needs the attention of party members. And the entire Professor Michael Qui's report is for the consumption of the party. The grassroots is very critical, the party structure is very critical, and leadership will always find a way. Like I said, in 2009, the Heyman's report was produced. It helped us to transform and move into 2016 and won victory. You never saw the report. Up to today, the Heyman's report have not been shown. You see, it's not everything that is done in public leads to success. Many successes have been achieved at the backstage, and the MPP will always take a cue as to how to achieve success.
Will you open your delegate system, for example? Does the report speak about it?
For the delegate system, this is a constitutional matter. If there is something that is going to affect the delegate system, it has to lead to an amendment of the party's constitution.
Is that part of the things that?
And I think that the amendment committee will look at that particular aspect. All the amendment portions in Professor Michael Qui's report will be teased out and presented to the amendment committee. And as we said, you are at the liberty to also write, to make suggestions to the delegate system.
So every Ghanaian can write to?
No.
Okay.
No, if you have interest in the New Patriotic Party.
Okay.
If you have interest in the New Patriotic Party. And I will ensure that my friends in multimedia will definitely get my tradition. And I'll be very happy to see a lot of multimedia journalists showing interest.
But we journalists don't need to align.
Not open, yes. You don't do open. There are many people who look at the number of journalists who have picked up appointments in John Mahamed's administration.
But it doesn't mean they are party members.
But they were denying. No, if you don't have that affiliation, you would not. You cannot get it.
Oh, no. But John Mahama said he would want every qualified Ghanaian to have an expression in his government. And that's what he's doing. It doesn't mean
you are saying that I am not qualified? I am qualified.
Yes, but you are an MPP.
So I'm MPP.
But it doesn't mean those journalists who have had space in his government are
but
NDC.
Some have declared openly that they were having ID cards of the party. They were members of the party whilst they were working. And the law does not debar them.
But we Have we?
No, I am not saying you. I am just saying that I want to win more souls, and I will win it in multimedia.
Yeah, but I'm saying that as for us, as we say, we are independent, we are fearless, we are credible.
I know.
Yes.
I know. But I need the credible people to also add up.
So what you're saying is that you are coming to convince some of us here to join you. Is that what you're saying?
I can even convince all.
No. No, but the point is.
Yes.
So that is one of the recommendations of the Okoye Committee, that your delegate system would have to be looked at. That's why you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you are mentioning if there is the need for the delegate system to be looked out. And I said that if there is that need for delegate system to be looked out, it has to lead to the amendment of the party's constitution. And by extension, I pointed out that the leadership of the party by National Council has put together an amendment committee.
Okay, when will your elections start? Elections to elect party leaders and whatever.
For that one, a calendar will be put before National Council. We all know traditionally how the elections has been done. We always start from the polling stations, where we elect the polling station executives. We also go ahead to elect the electoral area coordinators. We also go ahead to elect the constituency. For the timetable to come, we have to wait to get these amendments done. And the party is slating July of this year for annual delegates conference, which will take stock of all the amendments and all issues that will be raised in Professor Michael Okoye's committee to be decided by Congress.
Annual delegate conference. Conference.
Yes.
In July
this
year.
This year.
Okay.
And once the annual delegates conference is concluded, you will see a marathon of activities from the new patriotic party. And by that, you would have to also get a new constitution, which will state the various structures of the party. We have the first structure, which is the polling station. The second is the electoral area. The next is the constituency. The next is the regional and external branches. Then the next is the national. So all the structures of the party will go through this particular process. So when that is established by way of amendment and a complete constitution is put together, the General Secretary will then put together a timetable with timelines as to which activity will come first, which will come second, which will come third. All this will also be tabled to National Council for a decision to be made.
Okay.
There may be decisions to vary some of the activities because the National Council is cloned with the power to vary dates of some of these particular activities.
Okay.
So the General Secretary will do so when all is done through Congress and timetable will come out.
So if I understand you, the MPP will have some sort of a brand new constitution
definitely
before the conference.
We'll have an amended constitution.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, a brand new constitution, is it?
No, but some of the provisions will still stay.
Okay.
So once it stays, if you add another wife to your wives, doesn't make a new family. It is still the existing family.
Okay.
Just that you have added another member to the family.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about your thank you tour. Which nature is it going to take?
The thank you tour is going to cover the entire country.
Okay.
All persons who had shown interest in the primaries for the presidential elections will be invited to join. And the flag bearer, who was the face of the campaign, will be there.
Okay.
We want to go and show gratitude and thank the people and also thank God for where He has brought us.
5 months after 5 months after the elections?
In every activity, either in defeat or in celebration, you have to recognize the work of God. So we are waiting for Professor Michael Okoye's committee, which we gave them 3 months. Remember, after we lost the elections, we sat on the 2nd of January. We asked them to do the work in 3 months, to submit it after 3 months. They went through that. They have submitted it on time by submitting halfway into April. The party did not also waste time the same time that is being presented, the party also issued a statement to indicate that we will be having Congress at this time. On the same date, the party also put together a committee for possible amendment. That will also lead. There are timelines to the submission of amendments because these motions will have to be submitted back to the various regions and constituencies to look at before they come. I.e., you know, the activities of the party, the constituency conferences will also happen. Then the regional conference will also happen. That will feed into the national conference. So that is why I am saying that there's going to be some kind of marathon work up to July. And immediately after July, the General Secretary will kickstart all the other very important activities that Ghanaians are waiting for. And I believe that the MPP will come out very strong.
So this committee has 3 weeks to present their report.
Yes.
Right? And
they
then
have 3 weeks.
And then
and their terms of reference is indicated here, that the terms of reference of the amendment committee shall include assisting the General Secretary. Because the Constitution gives the power to the General Secretary to, in undertaking the following: 1, to identify provisions of the party's constitution that require amendment in order to give effect to the recommendations of Mike Okwe's reports. To work on the recommendations of the 2021 Constitutional Review Committee chaired by Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, and to also receive proposals for constitutional amendment from party members and identifiable groups, and to categorize the proposals under various articles and clauses for ease of reference. And finally, to make appropriate recommendations to guide the debate at the National Annual Delegates Congress.
And they are supposed to present their work in 3 weeks.
Yes, they are supposed to present that.
But if your party members don't know the details of the Michael Quay report, how can they make recommendations?
It is not. Recommendations are made from this constitution, which is public document.
No, but Professor Michael Quay committee report could be a guide to them.
I am saying that Professor Michael Quay's committee is one of the bodies that is making recommendation. You are also a body on your own, based on Article 19 of the party's constitution. If you are a member, you are a body on your own to make possible recommendations for amendment. Our party members, they know the processes of which you have to quote the article you want to be amended. Then you bring out how you want it to be read. Then you present it by way of motion. So whether Professor Michael Quay's committee has recommended on that one or not, you have liberty to also make a recommendation. And your recommendation must not necessarily reference Professor Michael Quay's report. It has to reference the constitution of the party.
So if a party member, for example, in my home at Hunter West, wants to present recommendations to this committee, how can
it passes through the constituency?
Oh, so they should write to the constituency.
The
Do party members know this?
They know it.
That they should write to your
2021, they wrote it plenty. You see the book? They wrote very plenty. You know, about 10, 20 people can write the same thing. And when it comes, you have to tease out, you have to sit down, make. And the good thing is that the secretary to this committee was the secretary to the 2021 report.
What is making your party issue that stern warning that executives cannot, sort of endorse anybody who is seeking to lead a party? Why? What's happening?
Kajo, you know, every institution or a corporate body need to be sanitized. We need to ensure that there is a level playing ground for everybody to have the belief and confidence that all of us will be able to be given the opportunity to take up the mantle. And the decision of the National Council was a reference to a decision that was taken by the same council on the 27th of July in 2021. Again, that same decision was reaffirmed by the same council and a statement issued on 27th of September 2022 by the current General Secretary. And reference is made to the Code of Conduct. And if you permit me, the Code of Conduct reads, members, supporters, sympathizers of the party at all levels shall, A, refrain from using the media, traditional or social, to attack the integrity and reputation of other members, particularly leading members perceived to be nurturing presidential or parliamentary ambitions.
Oh, the party constitution says this.
These are the rules. The party constitution, if you go to Article 18 of the party's constitution, it says, rules and regulations to this constitution.
Okay.
And it says there may be separate rules and regulations of the party to supplement the provisions of this constitution.
Okay.
The rules and regulations may provide the guidelines for the operations of the party at all levels.
So those are the rules.
In the wisdom of National Council, this particular guideline was provided for under Article 18 of the party's constitution.
Okay.
And that is why they issued the Code of Conduct, which has been in existence since 2021, reaffirmed by the same council in 2022, and in our last meeting, the same Code of Conduct was reaffirmed. The second one...
So why is it that when people use social media to malign your people, we don't see anything happening? If these are the rules...
Yes, the party took a very serious concern on this matter. Having issued this particular statement, a committee, 3-member committee was put together to receive complaints regarding to breaches of this conduct.
Okay.
Frank Davis, who is the chairman of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs of our party, the chairman of the Council of Elders, who is a very strong foundation member of our party, Honorable Hagman Osuajiman, and the General Secretary of the party. These are members that will be receiving complaints regarding the misconduct or the breach of the Code of Conduct as was established by the party and referenced in our last meeting by National Council.
Oh, okay.
So it is not just in vain, it is consistency.
Okay.
The consistency in which we do our things is what defines us. And that is why I always say the NDC is known in their own inconsistency. They are always consistent in their own inconsistency.
How so? Why do you say so? Why do you say so? But we'll get to that point. But I really want us to look at the thank you tour and then the internal party. So now, as we speak, some people have indicated their willingness to contest as flag bearers, right?
Not officially to us, but people are putting up their ambitions.
And
but the party has not opened nominations.
Okay.
And ambitions can be taken 100 years. Somebody can start his ambition now, and it takes him 10 years to be able to. So you can't cut off somebody from having an ambition. Okay. So after ambition, you can't have it. And that is why the party is saying that we should refrain from using the media, traditional or social, to attack the integrity and reputation of other members, particularly leading members, perceived to be nurturing presidential or parliamentary ambition.
So those people who are nurturing presidential and parliamentary ambition, party members should not use the media or social media to malign them,
attack their reputations, or do whatever. And also party
and if they do that, is a
party leadership. So because the Code of Conduct is very wide.
Okay.
It's very, very wide.
Okay.
And it's up to K. It's up to K.
Who have are nurturing presidential ambitions as we speak?
From where I sit, I have not had any official or informal discussion with any member who is nurturing presidential ambition.
But you say you've seen something.
Seen what?
You've seen some people nurturing.
No, I am saying that people should refrain. I was reading from the Code of Conduct.
Earlier, you said people are nurturing.
I said people can nurture their ambition.
Maybe,
yes.
But you said that people are, from where you've seen people nurturing.
I said from where I sit, people are nurturing.
Yes.
And you can nurture an ambition for 10 years.
Who and who?
I'm saying people.
But you haven't seen anybody nurturing?
Definitely, if anybody at all is going to, definitely must be a living being.
Okay.
So that is why I was specific. People. Somebody can say that if I say it in vacuum. Somebody can say, is it animal? Just as when a question was asked, the current president, when he was president, that Mr. President, are you corrupt? Then he asked, as a human being or as president? Because he wanted to be certain whether as a human being, but he knew that he was a human being when he was asked the question. So you need to be very specific. And that is why I said that people, because I am referring to living things.
Okay. So the people who contested in the last presidential primaries, do you call it primaries? Presidential?
Yes, presidential primaries.
So have you noticed, who and who have you seen trying to do a comeback?
Officially, because there have not been an opening of nomination, nobody has come to the party headquarters to pick a form.
Okay.
So by that, as a party officer, I speak on behalf of the party. So you have to speak to record. Once it's off record, I may not be able to speak to the fact. And when I go on that tangent, it will go to the image of the party. So I wish to refrain from putting my personal discussion on party official discussion.
Okay, all right. This is still the pulse here on the Joy News channel. Let me now take you into the NDC and matters arising now. The NDC has done a little over 100 days in office. They've been able to accomplish some of the things they said they will. The repeal of some of the taxes, they've done that. Some of the taxes they have. What do you, as a Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, genuinely, not politically, make of the NDC's performance in office?
Easy.
I want you to put away your MPP.
Oh, no.
And put Ghana first here.
You see, before I became a member of the New Patriotic Party, I have to satisfy a provision in the party's constitution, which is Article 3, membership. A membership of the party shall be open to all citizens of voting age.
Okay.
Citizens here mean Ghanaian.
Ghanaian.
So I have to be a Ghanaian first before I can be a member of the New Patriotic Party.
Yes.
Without regards to place, origin, circumstance of birth, race, stature, occupation, gender, ethnic origin, religion, creed, or other belief. So I am speaking first as a Ghanaian.
Okay.
If I wasn't a Ghanaian, I cannot be a member of the New Patriotic Party.
Okay.
The government of Mr. John Dramani Mahama gave us a 24-hour economy promise, which is very central to the NDC's agenda of resetting Ghana, jobs, accountability, and prosperity. The main center, the pillars of the NDC's administration and the basis on which they won power cannot get the table to stand. The 24-hour economy alone. So it means that the foundation is already weak. The concrete pillars are wobbling. So the roots on those foundations will be very dangerous for survival. That is the summary. The foundation of the NDC's reset agenda is the 24-hour economy.
Yeah.
We all know the center of the 24-hour economy is to have one job, 3 people doing the job.
But did they tell you that that's their foundation, or you are assuming?
The entire NDC manifesto is on 24-hour economy.
How?
That was the spirited fight.
The entire manifesto cannot be on 24 hours. There are a lot of things. There are a lot of things.
Yes, I'm coming, but that was the foundation. There has always been... Look, when you're putting up a building, okay, there will be rooms in it. There will be stores. There will be washrooms. But what will be is the concrete foundation on which it stands. The foundation of the NDCs, because they want to change. The whole country's economy, structure, and campaign was built on the economy. So they said they are going to change, because we have always said that we don't run a status quo government.
Okay.
We are running a government of initiatives.
So tell me what you make of the 100 days.
So if you look at it, they promised us for 120 days. So if you check...
They are not done with the 120 days.
Yeah, they are not done.
Yeah.
But if
Today
you
will
check,
be like 103 days.
If you check, I just want to deal with percentages.
Okay.
They've done 103.
Yeah.
So 103 over 120, right? So you see that they've done about 86% of the 120 days. They've done 86%. Then you pick, they said that, one, they have 26 promises under the 120 days. They said to nominate within the first 14 days the complete list of cabinet ministers for parliamentary approval. It was achieved on the 20th of January, which missed the 14 days line.
They came into power
on the 7th.
On the 7th of
so
January.
So you go to January. Let's go to January's calendar.
No. You're saying that they did the fight. They achieved it on
20th of January.
And they came. That's 13 days.
13 I am saying
days.
that for even the ministers were not completed.
No, but if you say 20,
even today,
no,
even today,
he was specific.
Check.
Cabinet ministers.
Yeah, but the cabinet ministers were not done by 14 days. Yes.
But you said 20.
I am saying that it was supposed to be done by that particular date. By 20th of January, it was supposed to be done. It was not done on the 20th of January. So he missed the point. Let's agree. Let's
just move on.
But I'm just stating the point that it did not meet that timeline.
Move on.
To constitute the leanest and most efficient government under the Fourth Republic in my first 90 days in office. In that particular instance, the government of Dr. Bawumia would have given you 50 ministers. So he's saying that the leanest, it is for him. He is going to constitute the leanest. He said 60. Up to today, we have 57. And then if you check, the people of Ghana is not against the number of ministers. They are against the expenditure that is attached to the number of persons working for government machinery. So you can have 100, you can have 1,000, but the most efficient way is not achieved. Let me tell you why the efficiency here is not achieved.
No, so what is your point?
My point is that the 57 ministers and the Office of Government Machinery that they are running, which they say we were living in opulence or we're living in some certain of life that is affecting the Ghanaian economy and then it's affecting the Ghanaian purse. That lean government they had is spending 2.7 billion Ghana cedis on government machinery. The big government, Akufo-Addo, is being slaughtered. The MPP is being insulted and attacked. Was spending 326 million Ghana cedis for that big government they so describe. The lean government they are describing to us is spending 2.7 billion. So efficiency is cancelled. If I am marking this script, they will get 0 because it's not efficient. The third point, they said establish a robust code of conduct and standards for all government officials. We have heard them say, but they have not issued that code of conduct. It's not been achieved.
We have 3 minutes for
hold a national economic dialogue, which they have achieved.
They have achieved, yes.
They also said within my first 90 days in office, this one is specific. The other one too was also 90 days specific. Yeah. So it means that it has even passed. Within my first 90 days in office, scrap the following draconian taxes to alleviate hardships and ease the high cost of doing business. E-levy.
Yeah.
True, they have cancelled.
Yeah.
However, the banks have introduced another 1%.
Banks?
Tax. Yes, banks.
I haven't seen it.
I have seen it. I have seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I have seen it. Because you said 3
billion. But that 1%,
so
even if the banks have done it, then it's not government.
COVID levy, it's government. When they take the money, taxes, it goes to them.
Have the government
they pay taxes on that. COVID levy is not being done.
Yeah.
10% levy on bet winning. They were disingenuous with the people of Ghana by deception. We had to correct them to come back. Then emission levy, it never existed. No Ghanaian has ever paid an emission levy. So you should not be promising somebody something that is not existing or affecting the person. Then within first 90 days in office, review taxes and levies on vehicles, equipments imported into the country for industrial, which has not been done. So out of these 26, I can count 8 what they have been able to achieve.
Yeah.
Even those I disagree, I've added them. So out of 26, 8 over 26 will give you 31%. And the level of achievement in terms of the number of days is 86%, right? Because it's not up to 120. But they have just achieved 30%, 31% of the entire. Okay? So it means that when you get 30% in exams, you've gotten F. The NDC have failed the people of Ghana.
But if you compare their performance to what you did in your first 100 days. I mean, they are delivering better than you. Don't you?
See, we did not put like first 100
but
days.
we have a traditional 100 days.
We have a traditional 100 days. But in our first 100 days, we scrapped over 17 taxes. Over 17 taxes. And today, we are paying more water bills because we were promised not to pay. In our first 100 days, because we brought our budget. And when we brought the budget, we abolished excise duty on petroleum. We also reduced the special petroleum tax rate from 17 to 15. We reduced the national electrification levy 5 to 3%. We reduced the public lighting levy from 5 to 2. A lot of them, about 17 of those taxes. And when you go to the water sector, what we did within the sector was able to hold us onto a certain level where we did not have increment in electricity tariffs within some certain period. And that had also cushioned the people of Ghana and given us leverage. Because in 2017, the whole of 2017, we never increased electricity, water tariffs. We never did that. So in that particular period. But in the period, within 100 days, they have increased electricity. They've increased water, which is a cause of hardship affecting the standard of living of the people of Ghana.
But you're saying that if you had won, you wouldn't have done it when it's part of what the IMF
I am saying that when somebody says he's going to give you a cap on his head, I am saying that in our first full 1 year, we never increased tariffs.
Okay, all right. And that
so if you promise you that, it means that we can do it because we have done it before.
Okay, I hear. But the raging issue now is that today, when it's 12 midnight, Goldfields ceases to be the owner of Damang mines. Government says it is nationalizing the extractive sector. Isn't that a good move that you should be applauding?
Good move. When John Mahama was there, what was the fate of Goldfields? Goldfields collapsed. You know it. It took President Akufo-Addo to come and bring Goldfields back. Immediately John Mahama won. What happened? Hoodlums in the NDC went to take over the Goldfields. When they saw that it wasn't possible to take over, they went behind to create this particular scheme called the Gold Board. And you know what happened? Interest groups who are interested in that, persons who were given the Exum Cubic, the largest forest reserve in the exit of power, are the people that is around this particular process. People who were working in those companies. Sami Jemfi was working for engineers and planners. Today, he's the CEO, the boss, the Ogboro of that particular board. Do you think that the company he was working for would not take advantage of that?
If the company is capable of running the Damang mine, well, there's no problem with that.
We are watching one company to be exporting only gold. When we were talking about gold for oil, this same party, who is in government today, was dismissing the idea for gold for oil.
But let me put something across. You've mentioned engineers and planners. We have not heard them bid for this.
No, I am saying that he was working for, which is a fact. I'm not saying they bid it.
Okay.
I'm saying that he was working. He was a worker in that company.
So what's your point?
And he's now the head of the Gold Board.
But Gold Board is not Minerals Commission.
I am saying that, was he working for that or not?
He was.
It's engineers and planners in that particular aspect.
But Damang mines, when it comes to whoever runs that mine, it is not the responsibility of Gold Board. It is that of the Minerals Commission and the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. That's what the law says.
I'm not disputing the law, but
what does the
law also talks about
what does the
conflicts
MPP
of
make
interest.
of what's happening in Damang?
I am not abreast with the facts in there because that was your first topic that you discussed. You brought in experts who have extra knowledge in that particular sector. But I can assure the people of Ghana, from where I sit and from the party I come from, that the NDC will definitely mess up the mining sector.
Because of?
Because what they are trying to do today is to experiment the mining sector. And the mining sector doesn't need experiment. This is a station of record. Note it down. You will have a documentary on it, and the good people of Ghana will shake their heads.
So you want to tell us that the idea of the government to nationalize the extractive sector has a different agenda.
You see, why is Ghana interested in decentralization? Decentralization is very key. Why are they quick to centralize mining?
They are not centralizing. We want to play an active role in it.
Who is going to export mining? There will be only one gold. There will be only one company. The other extractive industry.
They want to make it like Cocoa Board. Cocoa Board is the only company that exports cocoa out of Ghana.
Gold is not all mineral resources that can be treated the same. There is some intent and purpose behind this. And in real time, they would get it. Why is it that putting all this together, the NDC has gotten the power to go, and your own reporter, Erastus Donko, is clearly getting us areas, forest reserves, which has not been used before. The Mira Forest, over 50 excavators. You go to the Tano Anya Forest.
Yes.
You also go to the Ofin Shelter Belt Reserves.
But Tana, he was reporting on it when you were in power.
But look at the magnitude, even the extent of violence activities open, and the number of executives of the NDC. You know, when I was sitting, I was asking my colleague Mustafa Bandi. Today, he made a statement, and he was now saying that it is the two political parties, the executives after, but you are singing only one song. Today you are adding another hymn. Tomorrow you put a jingle on it to tell us the exact kingpins in Galamsey. But I also read a particular news item that is coming from your station today. I don't know. I always know that your station will always give us the very best. And that one is relative to the first year fees.
Yes.
The first year fees. It looks like there is counter statement from minister and the deputy minister. They haven't paid.
Yes.
Even the persons with disability, they have not paid. The minister says that first year tertiary students' admission fees will be refunded.
Yeah.
The deputy minister on this your show said no more direct refund for first year university students under no fee stress policy.
But so, they will be credited to use it in the next.
The key point is that the minister mentioned the point that will be refunded.
I hear.
So you see, these people, watch them.
Okay, I hear.
Let's watch them carefully.
The CJ. The president is passing through a constitutional process to deal with the matter. You say no.
I am not against constitutional process. You know my worry?
What's your worry?
My worry is that this is a government that has promised women in his government some level of jobs in terms of percentage. He failed. The very few credible women, the very few competent women that has been left, who have held this institution for long periods, are being hoarded out. It's very unfortunate. It is sad. I cry for my mother Ghana.
Who and who? Say very few women. Who and who?
The CJ is being chased.
Yeah, and who?
But it's a woman. Do you know other women?
Yes. Very few women. So
yes.
It's more than one.
Yeah, but the point is that there are others that are not well known like the CJ. There are other women whose appointments are not politically motivated. They have been asked to go home.
Really?
Yes.
Mention one. Mention one.
No, I am saying there are other women.
Yes, but you said they have been asked to go home.
Because so I am asked, if I was to talk about the sacking, I would have given you a lot of other women who... But for me, I have been raised by a woman. My grandmother raised me up. And I believe in women who are very capable to work. We need to give them the support to work. Their contribution to nation building is very important. And I believe we have to rally behind this force rather than to hoard them out when they are given such opportunities. The first female chief of staff, you saw what he did. And when we brought in a number of people, including even the CJ, the first brought the CJ in. And these are things that we need to all protect.
If that's the case, then we should also call on all Ghanaians to support the vice president, who's a woman. Some of your we've heard pronouncements about her which are not palatable.
We have not. The MPP has not made any official pronouncement on her. Women are very important, and I can tell you that the vice president today admitted me into University of Cape Coast.
Oh, okay.
And she signed my first degree certificate.
Okay.
I respect her so much.
Okay.
And I wish her to succeed.
Have you heard about her anyway? In terms of what
it is for government to tell us about her.
Okay.
I cannot
that
say
is fine.
about her.
She also matriculated me into the University of Cape Coast. So
we are alumni.
All right. Okay. So that's Haruna Mohammed, the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. Well, this has been the pulse for you. There's more on myjoyonline.com. But let me say hi to you. Happy Easter Friday to you. Dr. Stephen Wayo, CEO of Wayo Constructions Limited. You and the family. My regards to all of you. And to all of you who made time for us today. Wherever you watched us from, we are grateful that you could entertain us. As I do always, Mabakashi, I will come and say my undermine. The Kabbalah Mokra and Dafanu. Yes, and Yamazai, Engnao, Easter is there. A wire near your lot, young, near web emotion. Na Yezike, Yezra, a Kamaya and there call you. Ye Timina Kame, near lawyer more, near one and da, if Adama Bababe, if Via Ole, Oa, Bayashli, Mamuzu, Osua, Mvuma, Yagonada. This show was produced by the man Carlos Caloni, and on behalf of my directors, my lights, my sound, I say thank you for being a part of us. We'll meet again, God willing, some other time, but please enjoy your Good Friday and have a blessed Easter.